Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I wanted to talk about the concept of the AI-powered one-man studio. I mentioned this briefly in the previous video where I demoed a prototype of a tool I made for generating newsletter drafts with accompanying tweets just from a single idea. But in this video, I wanted to take the opportunity to dive into it a bit more as I am currently thinking about this quite a bit, and I will leave you with some practical tutorials at the end of the video of some ways I do this with my content workflows. So to start, I want to kind of set the backdrop, and we'll cover, I think, about four to five-ish key points for my reasoning for why the AI-powered one-man studio is going to be the future. All right, so the first key point that's been racking around my head lately is the concept of AI democratizing creativity. And what do I mean by this? Well, there's loads of tools out there right now that help you create all types of content, if it's like audio, images, videos, with just a click of a button or a few presses. So you're starting to see the technical aspect be abstracted away, which means the barrier to entry is actually lowering over time for more people to be able to express themselves creatively. And now, on top of that, what happens now? Well, we have more people that are going to be able to create content, meaning there's going to be more content in the marketplace for attention, meaning that you're going to need some sort of edge to actually stay ahead, especially if you're an individual or a small team. And that's why I think that the one-man studio powered by AI is going to be a future, because it's going to become a necessity for those people that are trying to compete in such a fierce market. And what this also means is there's going to be something that I want to call the generalist creator. And now I'm sure that a generalist creator has existed before. I just want to put a name on it so you can remember this while you're thinking about it, while you're walking around. But yes, it is exactly what it sounds like. It's a creator that's a generalist, somebody that has disciplines from multiple areas and can sort of apply abstract concepts to different situations. So a bit more of like higher level thinking and big picture thinking, and being able to kind of manage tasks and tell people where things should be going. So Dan Shipper is a writer, and he has a podcast, and he also has a company called Every, and he recently wrote an article that I found very interesting called The Allocation Economy, I believe. I'll put the link in the description of the video, but it resonated with me a ton because I'd been thinking some similar things, talking with some folks here in Austin as well about this. But if you look at what AI is doing, it's really abstracting away the need to know all of the nitty gritty details of the work that you're doing. So if you used to be a software engineer, maybe in the future you're going to be an engineering manager of AIs that can code for you. Maybe instead of a thumbnail specialist and a videographer, you are a creative director, and you are just kind of having a back and forth with your team of AIs that are doing the work for you. So it's not all the way there yet, but I do believe it will get there. But for the time being, I think the AI tools and the platforms that we have are doing quite all right on their own. And so that is more a tangential point to this topic. I just wanted to make that point known, that I think the generalist creator is something that is going to be a valuable sort of archetype to have, or to be, if you want to get more leverage in this attention economy. And now the next big topic I want to talk about is the corporate jobs pool shrinking. And so I've heard different opinions on this. Will AI replace all jobs? Will it not? No, there will be just different jobs. And I do agree with that to an extent. So let me kind of just break this down. So let's say AI replaces corporate jobs right now, and then people might say, oh, well, I'm going to just have to reskill and then I'll get my job back. And I do believe that will be the case for some of the people, but not all of the people. And so let's take another example. Like, if you look at the technological revolutions in the past, let's say the tractor. Before tractors, you needed probably more people to tend the field. Now you just need one or two with a tractor. So what happens to the rest of those people? Well, they're not farmers anymore. And that's kind of what I'm talking about, is with every technological revolution, we're actually seeing a drop in the magnitude of people necessary to actually run the company. Meaning more people will be left without jobs looking for new work and honestly just purpose. And so I think we're at the place in history where the only other place to go is to start your own business or join a small team and join their small business that they're doing. And so you have all these small teams and you're fighting for attention in the marketplace. And what are you going to need? You're going to need content just like everybody else, because content is one of the key distribution mechanisms for getting your brand, your product, your service in the face of other people. And that is why I believe that the one-man studio is a compelling future that is going to exist, because you're going to see small teams leveraging AI to compete with some of the heavy hitters and actually have more of a level playing field than we would have had in the past. And now the third point I want to talk about is personalized entertainment. So I used to think that there was a cap on the amount of content that people would demand, but it turns out that people actually really enjoy just very highly personalized content for themselves, and they can consume quite a bit of it. And so we have this large demand that has kind of always been there. And I think what has happened with the unlocks that we've seen with generative AI is that we're now seeing the supply side be enabled to actually fulfill more of that demand. And so I'm not one to say just because there is demand, you should supply it. You don't want to supply, you know, hard drugs to people that are demanding hard drugs. And people could argue that content does do that to an extent with dopamine. But let's look at it from the business perspective. If you are seeing all these potential customers that are demanding this content, wouldn't it behoove you to actually create content curated for that specific audience? The same product, same service, but just wrapped differently. And that's what I think is going to be happening as we get closer and closer to this full one-man studio future. Because if you are a person with a product and let's say you have several audiences, maybe you have people that are of a demographic of like single young men, and then you have another demographic of like 40-year-old men, and maybe you have some product that it's marketing to men, but these are two different audiences. You can have AI help you generate content curated for each of these audiences, and now you can scale your brand past just one. And so the last thing I want to talk about is the fact that industry leaders are building for this future. YouTube's CEO recently wrote a blog in 2024 talking about how AI will empower human creativity and how they believe in the creators as studios, actually, which I thought was very, very encouraging for this future that I am talking about. And we can also just take a look at some of these. I have a list of other companies here, but we have Runway ML, we have Midjourney, we have OpenAI, who brought us ChatGPT, Whisper, and now Sora. We have 11 Labs, Canva, Descript, Veed. These are just a handful of companies, not even mentioning, Meta or Google, some of the bigger players. And these companies are all building and just continuing to show us how far they can take AI. So what I'm saying is like this future is happening because of AI advancements, right? Like we wouldn't be able to express ourselves creatively as much as we can right now without what has happened in the past 2 years. And to get to the future that I'm talking about, we're going to need probably a few more steps. And what I'm saying is that this is already happening. So that is the last thing I wanted to talk about, is just the fact that if you look at where the industry is going, it's not going to be that long before we have far better models and tools that are on par with somebody creating content manually, and it like looks like it's real content. Like it will be indistinguishable. And so yeah, that's really all I wanted to talk about in this video. I just wanted to take the opportunity to flesh this out more as I'm still racking this around in my brain. And like I said, I did want to leave the video with some practical behind the scenes of me going through some content creation processes that I do. So I'm going to show like thumbnails and how to like repurpose content for LinkedIn posts, and then I will end the video. So let's get into that. All right, guys. So first, I will just show you kind of how I am currently making YouTube thumbnails with Midjourney and Canva. It's really simple, but I want to give you guys just even the smallest edge. If you already have a process that's better than this, then you can skip ahead. But for anybody that's new, this is kind of what I do. So, Midjourney, again, it's like one of the most popular image generation models out there. I believe they have like 16 million users or people in their Discord. And what I do personally is I don't like people seeing my image generations, and I also find it much easier to kind of just have less spam and keep everything in one place. So I just made a private server for myself, so you can see I have on the side it's like image generation. I have like YouTube thumbnails, dream images, just for different types of things that I like to generate. But for this, I am going to go over the last video's thumbnail, and I have the image right here that I used, and we can kind of talk about the prompt as well a little bit. So you can see it says right here that we are going to generate a 1980s time period YouTube thumbnail image of 3 humanoid robots in a newsroom sorting papers and writing articles. With the parameter flags v6, the aspect ratio is going to be 16:9, which is, like the desktop kind of like wide angle aspect ratio, and then the style is raw, and that's so we can make it look more realistic. So just to kind of break down parts of the prompt that I think are key for me at least is when I'm thinking of an aesthetic, I do like to play around a lot with the time periods because I see very stark differences in time periods that are like farther apart. And so I like to see what they look like if it's like from the 2010s versus like the 1980s versus the 1950s. I like the retro vibe a lot, so I usually generate stuff with like the 1980s, 1970s time period. Kind of key term there. And then YouTube thumbnail, that actually I have found to be pretty helpful for just making images that look like YouTube thumbnails. And I don't know if you know what I mean, but like a good example would be if you know Ali Abdal, just look up his YouTube channel and you'll see like he's got like soft lighting, it's an office space and it's blurred out. And you can see in the thumbnail folder here, like when I say thumbnail, sometimes we get images that look like this. Like right here, YouTube thumbnail, desktop monitor screen, and then it looks like what a YouTube thumbnail would look like, which is, I can't really explain it more than that. But back to this. Next thing is be specific about the objects, especially like with version 6, this is the case. So I said 3 humanoid robots. Don't ask me why. I just thought 3 was better than 2, and 4 would be too much. And I tried to think about what I was trying to evoke from the potential viewer. And I thought that kind of the way you think about AI agents and AI doing work for you, I think in the canonical sense, is kind of like robots walking around doing the work for you. And so I was trying to come at it from the perspective of like a normie, if that, like, there's no other way to say it, but a normie or somebody that is not familiar with the space as much. And I would call that like a level 1 of awareness. Like they know what AI is, they know like this is kind of the case. And when they think of AI agents, they imagine this is going to be like robots with AI. But yeah, as I was saying, the level 1 awareness where you don't know what an AI agent is under the hood, but you understand kind of like the implications of the use cases. And so I came at it from that angle when I was trying to make this image. I also thought that the fact that they're kind of in the middle of an action is kind of leaving like that open loop in people's heads for the video. Like, what are they doing? I wonder what's going on. And I guess it would make sense if you don't know what the video I'm talking about is. It is a video about a one-man media business where I was generating a newsletter draft with accompanying tweets based off of a single idea. And I was using AI agents to do it. So that's why I made this thumbnail. And if you are having trouble kind of coming up with ideas, really, and I do this too, like I'll voice dictate to ChatGPT and I'll just say, okay, like here is the topic of my video. Here's what I'm really trying to convey and get across. let's kind of go over some of the rules for thumbnails, or not rules, but principles where you're trying to kind of catch the eye. You want something that is intriguing, something that leaves an open loop in the head, or actually displays like the value that you're going to get out of the video. And there's others as well, but that's kind of where I would go if you don't know even where to start for the prompting concept. And then again, you're going to want to use dash dash v6 to use the latest engine for Midjourney, and the aspect ratio is dash dash AR 16:9 for thumbnails. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to show you how I do this in Canva. Okay, so now we are in Canva. If you're looking for the actual template to use, you can just look up thumbnail. You can search thumbnail and then click YouTube thumbnail. Now I already have that open here, so really what I did for this is I first expand, get rid of that. We first expand the image, and something cool you can do is you can duplicate by just hitting Command D. And the reason I do this is because what I'll do is I will remove the background from the top image. So now you can see that there's two images here. And what I'll do with the background image is I will lower the brightness if it makes sense. I have to see, like, you see how you can kind of lower the brightness and it brings more focus to the center. So I'll probably leave it slightly faint for now, but what I will do is I will autofocus that image, because now you see we have like the blurred background, looks really nice. And now we get on to just adding the text overlay. And so for this, what I will do is I will just add the header. Because there's a lot going on in the background, I'll just add what I had last time. Just like, you can add an element, or you can add like a rectangle, something just to kind of like define it outside of the background context. And then I think it said like one man media business, and we'll just duplicate this. And so I'm just going to kind of speed run through this. It's not exactly the same as the thumbnail I made, but you can add the effects here. So you can add like outlines, and you can change the color here to like whatever you want. So you could do stuff like this. And then what I did is I came over and I have an image of Langchain's logo somewhere in my, let's see, there it is. And I cropped it, remove background, place it there. And that's kind of the gist of what I did, but the key point here is the way I like to use the image generators for thumbnails is I personally think that I want to have more control, or fine grained control over any copy that's on the thumbnail, or any like text overlay or elements that I want to add. And I will use the image generator for mainly the background image. And that's really like what it comes down to. And then if you go over to my YouTube, that is the final product. And so here you can see that what I'm doing is I have the kind of like the core concept, one-man media company, and I leave the little Langchain logo here kind of for, I would say the reason I only added this in a subtle way is because I wanted to allude or kind of give a nod to developers that are familiar with Langchain, for people that are kind of a couple levels of awareness above the base level. and they may click on this for the interest they have in actually learning how to code this, because what I did in the video is I explained the concept, I showed the demo of the tool, and then I broke down how I did it. So that's kind of the format I was following for the video, and kind of what I like in general is just to first talk about the concept high level and then go into the details after, so people that don't care about the details can leave, and that's why I added the logo so subtly. So that is pretty much how I make YouTube thumbnails right now. I use Midjourney for the background images, and I use Canva with a little bit of elements and text overlay, and that does the job pretty well. Okay, so now I will leave it there, and we will move on to one more workflow that I use for my content creation process. Alright guys, now I'm just going to leave you with this last workflow for the video, and then I will wrap it up. So for this one, I'm going to show you one of the processes I use sometimes for repurposing my long-form newsletters into tweets and LinkedIn posts. And disclaimer, you don't want to just copy and paste the exact output. This is just to expedite the process and to kind of remove any friction that might be in your brain for, oh my god, I don't want to repurpose this. This is going to take too long. No, there's none of that here. So let's get into it. Now for this, I am going to just follow along with one of the courses, and I don't mean to plug, this is actually just what I do, and I figured it'd be easier to just go along with this and show you what I'm doing. So what we have here is we have a previous newsletter that I wrote. This is like why you should move to Austin, especially if you're a founder and you're interested in AI, and just generally. I am personally very, very invested in Austin being probably one of the best cities in the US. But anyways, that is for another video. So here we have the first prompt, which is going to say, please summarize the key points, themes, actionable insights, yada yada. So this is the first step into getting your long form to be turned into short form tweets in a manual way. So what we're doing here first is we are just trying to let the language model understand like what is going on inside of the newsletter, like what is actually being said. And then once we extract all of the key insights and the themes and the topics, etc., we will pick the opportunity, we'll choose an angle for posting. So, like what opportunities, like what frameworks can we use? I like to reference, copywriting frameworks sometimes, like the ADA framework right here. But yeah, let's just get into it. So first, what I'm going to do is I am going to, well, first I have this on my clipboard. So here's what I will do. I'm just going to paste the article there. We're going to copy and paste this prompt. And now I will paste the article inside of the placeholder, and I use tags to delimit the subjects that I'm talking about, just to let the model understand where I'm specifically wanting it to look. So we're going to save and submit that, and this should pull out all of the key insights and the themes. So we'll let that go. And while that's running, we can get the next prompt ready to go. So this is literally what I do, guys. Based on the summary provided, identify opportunities related to the article topic that would engage my LinkedIn audience. So the article topic would be the title in this case. And we're going to wait for GPT to wrap up here. And again, guys, I cannot stress enough how electric it is here in Austin with AI and generally. I would definitely recommend checking it out if you haven't already. So we are ready to go on to the next step. So now we have our summary and key insights, themes, etc. And now we're going to get a opportunity related to the topic. So like what opportunities could there be inside of here? The opportunity for this, I'm assuming, is probably like This is a burgeoning tech hub. It's still very nascent relative to larger tech hubs like Silicon Valley, New York City. So there's still a lot of green space here and a opportunity for you to like make your mark. But let's see what ChatGPT has to say. And again, while we're waiting, multitask like a mofo. So next, we are going to copy the next one. Choose a post angle. Given the opportunities identified from the article, we are going to generate post ideas using the 4A framework and create ideas to ask questions, make people think, provide a tip, and share anecdotes related to the specific opportunity. So now I'm going to get our article topic that we used above, and we will pick an opportunity. So let's see, we've got President Austin's emerging status, convey urgency, the potential of being part of a dynamic environment. I like this opportunity a lot because I think that's probably one of the most compelling ones for anybody who's looking to get into the AI space and be around a bunch of really cool people. This is the time to do it. So, given the opportunities of this topic, the AI boom in Austin, and 5 reasons why you should move here, generate post ideas using the 4A framework, create ideas that ask a question, make people think, provide a tip, and share an anecdote related to President Austin's emerging status as a leading AI hub, likening to Silicon Valley in the 80s, to convey yada yada yada. So let's enter that. And while that's going, I'm telling you guys, this is the best part. You have to multitask all the time. So using the selected copywriting framework, you will craft a LinkedIn post about chosen opportunity. And we're asking it not to use emojis or hashtags because those are spammy. And we'll use the ADA framework for this example. And boom, okay, so we have ask question. Is Austin blah blah? This question invites consider the tip. Consider move to be a forefront of innovation. Here's tip. Dive into Austin's rich ecosystem of AI startups and educational programs. Perfect. We are cooking, guys. All right, so now we will use the ADA framework. And we will put the opportunity where it was supposed to be, and now we will generate the LinkedIn posts. Are you ready to be a part of the next big tech revolution? Imagine stepping into Silicon Valley in the 80s, except this time it's Austin leading the charge in the AI boom. Austin, Texas is rapidly emerging as the global hub for artificial intelligence, drawing in a vibrant mix of startups and tech giants alike. With over 118 generative AI-focused startups and the presence of industry leaders like Tesla and Apple, the city is carving out its place as the Silicon Hills of the AI era. But it's not just about the numbers that tell the story. It's the people. Professionals like you have taken the leap, moving to Austin, finding unprecedented opportunities for growth, collaboration, innovation. Their success stories, you get the point. So now that we have this, before we end the video, let's just go over a couple of the reminders. Do not copy and paste this directly. Please edit it, put in your own voice, make tweaks. This is just meant to get you started and to give you something to work off of. And honestly, it's a very good quality draft to start with, and it didn't take as much time as it would have if you did it manually. Next thing, this works for other frameworks. This can work for tweets. I also have in the course here, I also show you how to do this with YouTube videos. If you make YouTube videos like me, I find this pretty useful because it's just another source of me to get text-based content from the transcriptions of the videos and then making tweets about them or making LinkedIn posts about them. So I hope that these 2 workflows that I showed you at least got you started, and I just wanted to kind of share with you guys what I do with my content creation process so far. Um, and this isn't all of it. This is just a couple of the faster demos that I could show that I think are pretty accessible to most people watching. You didn't really need to know how to code for any of these. You just need to know how to use Canva, Midjourney, and ChatGPT. And yeah, that is pretty much the video, guys. So if you like the video, subscribe, drop a comment if you have any questions, concerns, and I will also be leaving a link to my school in the description of the video, which will take you to this page. You will hit the join button and I will let you in. It is a free community, and inside you will get access to all these courses and more coming soon. We also have some bi-weekly calls. I am currently working on adding a few other ones, such as like the state of AI every week. I think we could get together a good group of people every week and just talk about what everybody has seen in the AI space, whether it's news, it's tools, it's research. I think it's just good to stay abreast of the space writ large, even if this is more focused on a subset of the entire space. And yeah, so that's it, guys. I hope you liked the video. I hope I got your gears turning about what the future could look like. If you agree with what I think, please let me know. If you disagree, also let me know, because I would love to hear your perspective. I'm always looking to test my vision and my map of the world. It's not helpful to just stay in your own head all the time, so please do that. And yeah, not much else, guys. So till next time, much love and peace, y'all.